Greetings of the interweb, I am Parax11, review of the good, the bad, and the underrated. Now, I initially intended this to be my 20th film and TV review, because it's another anime movie and, clever segue with what year this is for the franchise, but I decided to do Lair of Grievous instead and add one to the Halloween reviews. And considering what happened to my Puppet Master review, that was a very good decision in hindsight. But I still fully intend to celebrate the 20th anniversary of my favourite video game franchise, and with some new games having just come out that I will get eventually, I feel that there's no better time to review one of my favourite movies that spawned from it.
I freaking love Pokemon. Long before the overrated, crash-prone and really stripped-down mobile fad came out in the far-off year of 2008, I first picked up Pokemon Diamond. I was completely addicted to having my pets beat up wild animals and enslaving them to my will. Although that mostly started a month later when I got Platinum, because Giratina looked way cooler than Dialga. But joking aside, the simple formula of Pokemon of a fatherless 10-year-old kid, except in Gen 3, going out to catch them all and save the world from some random crime boss, I found very empowering as a kid and whimsically simple and fun now that I'm older. Oh, and my favourite Pokemon is Infernape, and my favourite game is Soul Silver. I'll fully admit, at 10 I was hooked on anything that had the Pokemon name on it, but now I'm only really interested in the main series games, Mystery Dungeon, the Generation shorts on YouTube, and I've read a volume or two of the Adventures manga, and really liked them. I can't get enough of the Diamond and Pearl arc of the anime, and often go back to it, along with the first series in Advanced Generation, which I caught reruns of at the time. However, when the Best Wishes series came around with its annoying side characters, half-baked ideas and unfocused plot, and if you know how simple the ones in Pokemon usually are, that's really bad, I stopped watching it. But from what I've seen of X and Y, it's been very good, and I think Sun and Moon looks nice. Now, one area in particular where Pokemon is inconsistent is the movies, with some being pretty good, while others sort of blend into this boring mix in the middle, with only one or two I'd outright call bad, and three I'd actually say are great movies in their own right. Those would be Spell of the Unknown, which has already been reviewed in detail by Ilnej and Suede, so if you want in-depth reviews with basically the same opinion as me, check them out. The Rise of Darkrai, which I couldn't give a balanced review on since I have a bunch of nostalgia for it, seeing as how it's the first movie I watched, though I'll probably do it someday despite that. And today's movie, Lucario and the Mystery of Mew. The final advanced movie and the last project for 4Kids.
No more rice balls be referred to as jelly-filled donuts or replaced with sandwiches!
This movie can pretty much be described in one horribly overused word. Epic. The scale, locations, characters, for the most part, and fights are all epic in this movie.
So what exactly puts this movie above the 100 billion others? Let's find out as we take a look at Pokemon the movie, Lucario and the Mystery of Mew.
After our obligatory introduction to the Pokemon world, although at this point there can't be that many people who don't know about it, this film starts in the past with a full-out Pokemon war. See why I call this movie epic? It starts with a medieval Pokemon war.
Hold on, what colour are the armors of the two sets that... Red and green? Game Freak.
You magnificent bastard, I read your book!
In the midst of this, we meet our legendary...
Huh? Oh, legendary? Oh, well, our pseudo-legendary for the movie, yeah. What? It's not even that! Ugh. I'm not legendary in the slightest, but still really freaking cool Pokemon for the movie, Lucario. Voiced by Sean Schimmel, the same guy who played Goku in Dragon Ball Z. I don't care if it's pronounced Z, I will not use your inferior American pronunciation.
Aura is with me.
I'm Batman! While he may not be a legendary, I'd still call Lucario possibly the best character in a Pokemon movie, seeing as how he actually has a character. Not only is his arc incredibly well done, as I'll elaborate on, but he's pretty much a Pokemon Batman. He's tough, brooding, and a total badass. He even has detective or aura vision. Mostly thanks to this movie, but also because it's really strong in game, I try and get a Lucario whenever I can when I play. However, he's soon blinded in a battle as his master Sir Aaron goes to help him. Even though we don't see much of him, he's pretty cool too. He's got a nice design, a noble personality, and he's a knight! a Pokemon Night Trainer.
When the armies reach this palace, our kingdom will fall.
Well, excuse them, Princess. Your Majesty.
Don't worry about me, Master.
Don't call me that. I'm no longer your master. I have abandoned the Queen and the kingdom.
Sir Aaron!
Don't worry, I'll turn out not to be as much of a douchehole later. You'll feel really sad when you find out, audience. As the two armies are about to clash, Aaron goes to the Tree of Beginning to greet our actual legendary for the movie, Mew. In his second movie, mind you, lucky little embryo cat adorable thing, releases some minty fresh magic that quells the two forces.
The terrible forces that threatened her kingdom were suddenly transformed. All at once, anger and hatred were changed into understanding and hope. Really, Mom?
Yes, because brainwashing solves everything, honey.
That's a great story. Can you read it again, please?
Dear, I've read this book for you 7 times in a row. Can't we read The Very Hungry Catcher? No, more betrayal story. Ugh, you're the worst mistake I ever made. What was that, Mom? Oh, nothing, dearie.
He then gets our favourite timeless, but only because he can't age, trainer Ash Ketchum, on his way to, what else, a fighting festival. Along with Coordinator May, her annoying brother Max, and the man with even more restraining orders than Master Roshi, Brock. To give my basic thoughts, I really like this team. Brock, as ever, is entertaining to watch, but useful in battle, and thanks to his expansive knowledge on Pokemon. May is a good companion, contrasting Misty's tomboy tendencies with generally being a girly girl, but skilled in battles as well as contests. She's generally cute and very fun to watch. I know some people hate Max, but I never went that far. I can stand him, and his cleverness could occasionally be good, although he is a cocky little brat, and the fact that he doesn't have any Pokemon does make him the weak link. Meanwhile, Pikachu's... well, Pikachu! I love him!
Why are they looking at him like that? Are they gonna say... Aww, it's so cute!
After introducing Team Rocket for the sake of comic relief and yet another Sinnoh Pokemon to plug in Mime Jr., we get a...
battling to the best theme since the original montage!
I'm unbeatable!
I love the advanced battle theme. The energized singers, the lyrics, the guitars, just get you pumped for battle. Oh man!
I love it!
Although as cool as the battles and the music is, there's no surprise as to who ends up on top.
We have a new guardian for the year! Ash Ketchum from Pallet Town!
Yeah, we did it!
If only he could have the same luck at the Pokemon League. I've had to see you lose 6 frickin' times, damn it! If I can beat every Pokemon League in each game I've played, even if I've had to save and reset for most of them, I'm sure you can after Arceus knows how many seasons.
That was a great battle. Congratulations, you two.
But with Kid, our one-off sidekick for the film's helmet down, so is her creeper defenses.
Even a suit of armor isn't enough protection from you.
Oh yeah, that's why I can stomach Max. He takes care of Brock and is funny while doing it.
This is the staff of the Guardian that once belonged to the great Sir Aaron.
Why did you betray me?
Did you say something, ma'am?
Don't worry, that's just the fans feeling betrayed after how crappy Best Wishes was. While the dated 3D dances the night away, the height of adventure and whimsy. There's some shipping fuel. Oh, come on, I've only had James to ship Jessie with. Give me this.
Have we met someplace before?
Oh, seriously, Clark Kent's disguise is more convincing. At this moment, James should have got his monocle burnt off by a well-aimed ember. Sorry, this scene is just pretty boring. Kid being a shady bastard will do, I guess.
Oh, I know this is just a kid's movie, but oh, it's just a kid's movie. How did that happen?
Grappling hook!
Oh, we have yet another Wanabat in this movie. After some cute hijinks with Mew appearing with our hero's Pokemon, because when you think legendary Pokemon, you think of floating pink cat playing around with toys in an attic. It gets attacked by even more promotion for the next game in the form of a duo with Weavile. Yet another one of my favourites along with Infinite and Lucario. I just love the dark design and high speed and attack. Dark here is one of my favourite types, although my absolute is fire. But after they tank Mew, it then saves Pikachu and Meowth, taking them to the tree.
Sir Aaron.
It's that voice again.
Don't worry, Ash. The years are finally catching up with you. In reality, you're a senile 90-year-old man.
So after a century-long kip, can I get one of those staffs? I'll take anything I can to avoid my A-levels. Lucario gets free and mistakes Ash's cosplay for Sir Aaron.
Why did you abandon the Queen? Where were the other drugs going?
Who is that?
Lucario.
Lucario? According to our legends, it's a Pokemon who served under Sir Aaron.
How are you all so calm? The love child of Zoro and Wily Coyote just popped out of a staff and you're just okay with it? No confused looks? Or even a what the Oh? Okay.
Lucario then goes around his home and there's going to be some comedy for it being a fish out of water and...
That's actually sad.
Surprisingly, a lot of Lucario's having to get used to the present is played seriously, and it works really well. While there are a couple of jokes about his future shocks and, of course, being a bit of a sourpuss, most of it's played straight, but it doesn't come off as hokey or overdramatic. It's actually very subtle and well done.
Lady Rin.
I'm afraid I'm not who you think I am.
I'm Princess Peach and... Aww. I know this moment is short, but that look of horror on Lucario's face, realizing everything around him has changed and everyone he knew died, is powerful. He then reveals that Sir Aaron might not have been so trustworthy. While he appears noble, we can't see much of him in the past. Sure, it's revealed later his motivations were pure, but it's a decent mystery.
How come you thought I was Sir Aaron? Is it 'cause this costume makes me look like him?
No. The aura I sense in you is like Sir Aaron's.
How incredibly convenient.
You won't believe it! I saw Mew!
Oh, what an adorable little boy. That costume he's wearing is so precious.
Lady, 2 legendary Pokemon just appeared. Keep your ADHD in control.
Mew has a tradition of showing up here at the palace to play games and make mischief.
It disappears with toys all the time, and they're never to be seen again.
Aw, it's a little thief and just stole 2 Pokemon. Jesus, and I thought Team Rocket could be douchebags. At least they're funny. They then introduce the tree, or rock formation at the beginning, and Brock introduces Kid as a famous explorer and wanted to investigate the tree thanks to a notebook he keeps. And that's not creepy. While she's an awesome and proactive exposition sidekick with cool gadgets and skills, I have to ask, what the hell is, well, up with your hair? I don't think all the hair gel used in an episode of Yu-Gi-Oh! Could get it up like that.
So tell me, Kid, is that product in your hair or are you just happy to see me?
Pikachu and I are best friends.
Friends?
If one of your friends was lost, you'd want to bring him back too, wouldn't you?
I don't have any friends. And I don't want any.
They then set off into a foggy wasteland to the tree with only Lucario's aura to guide them because...
What is aura anyway? Well, it's the living essence that's inside of every creature.
Oh, rocks are alive. Cool. I mean, it's kind of atmospheric with them being jerked around in a jeep and the fog getting deeper the closer they get to the tree. If you've seen my Halloween reveals, you know I'm a sucker for good atmosphere, and the score's pretty good, along with some rocket-guided slapstick. While they settle down for a meal, we get Sinnoh promotion number who the hell's counting, now in the form of a crying Bonsly. Bonsly, as they say, I don't care. Also, what are those expressions? They look like Brock just crapped on a little pet tree rock.
Really,
Come back!
Don't take things that aren't yours.
And those berries were mine too, you little You'll be getting an aura sphere in your ass later, you pointless plug. Meanwhile at the tree, Pikachu wakes up so he can get treated to... Granted, I'm not a big fan of most cute legendaries, the Celebi movie probably being my least favourite, and quite a few of the little cuties grating on me in the other ones, and it's certainly not as good as its appearance in movie 1, holding less power as well as mystery, ironic, but I can stomach is okay. Maybe it's just me being a brony for 3 years or Meowth snark acting as a surrogate for me.
Look, you guys! Isn't that a hot spring?
All right!
Yay, more padding the runtime!
That's probably my main problem with the movie. As I kind of complained with the dancing, There's way too much filler in this film, and it isn't even cute like stuff with Pikachu, Mouth, and Mew. Plus, as Ash says,
I just can't stop thinking about Pikachu.
Pikachu could be in danger. Time's kind of the essence, guys.
I mean, we in the audience know Pikachu's perfectly fine just hanging out with Mew like a baller. Okay, I'm never using that word again, but they don't. But at least it gets us a nice flashback for Lucario. All the ones we get are great for expanding his character, and the unique way Aaron trained him. We've seen a lot of trainers being friends or douchebags to their Pokemon, but having that relationship in the context of a knight and his apprentice was really cool, as well as developing Lucario and Aaron as friends. This is what should have been with Anakin in the Star Wars prequels.
How can I live in a world where a Pokemon movie is both subtle and has a Jedi-Padawan relationship better than actual Star Wars movies? Well, at least Donald Trump isn't president. Oh, elephants.
You can jump in. The water's great. Yeah, you'll love it.
Nah, I'm too edgy. You'd all cut yourselves on me. Seriously, I'm covered in spikes. I'm surprised the Queen didn't stab herself on my chest when she hugged me.
Wonder what's wrong with it.
Oh, I don't know, Ash. Maybe it's because its master abandoned it and trapped it for hundreds of years? Maybe I'd be a little cranky if that happened as well.
May then finds a shiny thing and...
Mudkip.
Aw, I like Mudkip. Ash then falls with the flower, looks more like a crystal wang to me, and it's revealed to be a time flower.
The legend says Sir Aaron could look into the past using a time flower like this one.
I'm sure that won't be completely heartbreaking later. Also, Doctor, did you bring some weird Gallifreyan plants to Earth?
Oh, fine. Focus on that.
I don't think Pikachu liked me at all. I can't even count how many times it hit me with electric attacks. Guess it all started when that flock of Spearow attacked. There were so many of them, I thought I was finished. But then, Pikachu rushed to my rescue. I knew then that I could count on Pikachu. And it felt the same way about me.
Damn it, I'm actually sad to see a cast from 4Kids go.
Oh, I do believe it. This movie's giving me nostalgia tears. So good.
You humans are all alike. You can't be trusted.
Then Ash, because he's a pig-headed prick, starts fighting a spiky aura dog who shoots explosions. Good move.
Truly an example to all children. Picking a fight with a wild animal.
Still, at least he realises it too, even if he needed May to do it. Although for the most part, May, Brock and Max are just along for the ride, another problem with the film, it's nice to see that little moment of May's motherly side to cool off Ash, as that trait is part of what makes her a good companion.
Here, you ever tasted chocolate?
Never.
You're gonna love it. Not only does it make you feel better, but it tastes yummy too.
Knowing a certain reaction that happens to my dog when he eats chocolate, even once for dogs, you've doomed all your companions to death by toxic gas, Max. Nice one. Although kudos for being able to make a bipedal wolf dog cute for a few seconds. That takes skill.
I suddenly feel all my problems melting away. Give me more!
But just like me, Pikachu's getting a little tired of not much substance happening in the movie and wants to go back to Ash.
Pikachu.
Actual lip movement in an anime movie that's not accurate. Get it away.
Next morning, they get to the place where Lucario was trapped, and conveniently, there's a flashback flower nearby for our heroes to see that Lucario was telling the truth. Well, that was inevitable for a shonen protagonist actor. Now all you need is to spike up your ears a little and you're set.
You know what I think? Lucario was right. Sir Aaron was no hero. He wasn't even around.
So that whole Legend of the Champion thing was wrong?
Then how did the two armies stop fighting? You can't get a reliable view of an event from just one source, especially one as limited as that, given it was interrupted before the battle ended. You all get an F- on not being idiots. That said, Ash and Lucario stopping being jerks to one another is a pretty touching scene. Nice to actually see Ash act humbly.
I'm sorry I said all that stuff last night. It wasn't right.
Promise me you won't ever desert Pikachu.
I promise.
The plot's returning,
And since we need some Hoenn plugging as well as Sinnoh, it comes in the form of Regirock. All three golems get a part guarding the Tree of Beginning, and it makes sense, since they're also around creating the continents and moving them into place. Or that may just be Regigigas, I don't know, my memory of the Pokedex isn't what it used to be. Plus, I love the way they sound. It sounds organic yet robotic at the same time. The sound design for this is generally solid, but the calls for the Regis is outstanding. Then inside the tree they see... Yay, fossil Pokemon! Really emphasizes the age of the tree along with the couple of Nidoran.
Okay.
That's as if in Jurassic Park after seeing the Triceratops they went along to the pigeon exhibit. Doesn't quite fit.
What's that?
Survey robots.
Oh, you've got some impressive gear.
When it comes to investigating, there's no such thing as being overprepared.
Especially if the plot demands it. Also, I don't think splitting up in uncharted territory with a bunch of dinosaurs and golems on your tail is the best idea.
They're alive. I'm checking the data, but it's clear that the Tree of Beginning is part of this ecosystem.
Then maybe it's a good idea to stop drilling into the tree unless you... Yeah, that happens.
An important piece of the puzzle is missing. We still don't understand how Mew fits in.
Maybe it just lives there because it's a nice place. If I found a giant crystal tree on the property market filled with dinosaurs, I'd probably want to move in. They then have to turn back thanks to Regice and meet a crystal maze that gives Sombras a run for its money. And I might have liked Crystal Empire more if there were a bunch of elemental golems chasing Twilight.
Maybe they could just shoot their beams at, and he transforms into Rapidash and goes pew pew.
P-Man, let out your childish fantasies later when there are less people for you to annoy.
Aw, gotta have some fun, Jamie.
No, because there are antibodies eating the robots. Nice one, Kit.
Wait.
Continue, or I steal more of your snarky jokes.
You drive a hard bargain.
You're always seeing danger just around the corner. Let me go!
No!
Oh, Arceus, they killed Jessie! They'll get resurrected later. If this movie wasn't Pokemon Heroes, Death's taking a weekend off. While the characters being chased down by the golems and antibodies is tense, and it's kind of horrifying to see my childhood heroes suddenly melt into goop with their Pokemon looking on distraught to add to the trauma, I know they're going to come back, so I buy into their deaths as much as I would a superhero. I'm sad, especially given they're sacrificing themselves for their friends, but not really. Death has about as much effect as the common cold in this universe.
This is bad.
Understatement of the millennium.
Granted, Ash being reunited, touching you with Pikachu, only to get absorbed, that was freaking cruel, writers. Oh no, I don't care if he's getting resurrected. Pikachu crying is so sad. Yeah, this is all your fault, you feline fool. If only you weren't such a kleptomaniac, they wouldn't have died. However, Mew then does something to the tree because symbiosis and...
Everybody lives!
Well, at least they were quick about it, and they were resurrected through more plausible means than... that. Although, even when I'm doing it, Scrubs, Mew manages to create more as, thanks to the symbiosis, Mew calling the immune resistance off is causing the tree to die. So, everything that's gone wrong is thanks to that little pink cat.
So in other words, for all the actions you've done in this movie, and for one thing to come later, Mew, you done f***ed it up!
They then come to the centre of the tree where they find Sir Aaron encased in crystal, and, of course, there's a flashback flower showing that the tree took his aura to stop the fighting, but the effects cost him his life. A pretty decent, if slightly predictable reveal that Aaron was just as good as legends say, although granted the reveal usually does show them to be petty, so that's actually kind of subversive in being predictable.
I'll help you, Mew.
Hold on, Lucario. If you use your aura to reverse the damage, you'll end up in the same suspended state as Sir Aaron.
Death, what are you doing here? I thought you were taking the weekend off.
Game Freak paid me off for a good trip to Texas, but now I am back, and one character in this movie must die.
Oh, is Mew finally going to pay the price for its actions, showing that there's always a price to pay for childish behaviour?
No, it's too cute to die. Why do you think I give cats so many lives? Let's see, eeny, meeny, miny. I'll take the coolest character this franchise has produced.
Oh, no, not Lucario. try and take him, and I will use all my chaos magic to...
Hey look, a gut-wrenching heroic sacrifice.
Really? Where?
The aura is with me!
There.
Damn it! Oh, by the way, Death, could you do me a solid? I see you've been taking a bunch of 69-year-old celebrities, and there's a certain president-elect who should...
He turned 17 in June.
Bugger! You know, Death, you can be a real dick sometimes.
Well, Terry Pratchett's no longer around to write me.
And whose fault is that?
Oh, right.
Plus, Ash tries to help, but he's limited to only one death/resurrection per movie, so his new buddy's there to bail him out. Despite my early displeasure when Lucario does die, it's, as Death said, gut-wrenching. He finally lives up to Aaron's legacy, only learning with his own death how much Aaron cared, and that he truly considered their bond to be more than master and student, but as friends. Although I still think Mew's a careless little brat, that doesn't make Lucario's sacrifice any less of a tearjerker. Plus, seeing Aaron, this noble and strong character, dying in pain and alone with the thoughts of his only friend consuming his mind, as well as trapping Lucario because he didn't want them to share the same fate. That horrible irony is always what sets the waterworks going for me. However, what shows that Lucario outdid his master was that he had a somewhat greater effect on the world, as he dies with friends around him, while making the same sacrifice. And so we get a very bittersweet ending, as Mew receives no punishment for its actions, and our heroes stare off into the horizon as an area of excellent performances despite ridiculous localization comes to a close, along with this great adventure.
So that was Lucario and the Mystery of Mew, and despite some pretty big problems, some even bigger than lesser movies in the franchise, I still have to say, I really like this movie.
Let's start out with another of the biggest flaws besides the padding I mentioned earlier, is the legendary Pokemon that shares the title of this movie, Mew. In his review of the movie, which was very good, Ilnaz referred to it as what broke the movie for him. And while it doesn't for me, it's still a big issue. The fact that it causes pretty much all the conflict and misery for the characters in the film, yet they have to suffer all the punishment it should, is bothersome. And I can see its never-ending cuteness being annoying for some. It didn't for me, and I also see Mew, despite it being centuries old, as a lonely child. Like Lucario, it didn't have any friends, but instead of becoming badass, it didn't grow in maturity, always causing mischief, perhaps as a way to cover up its loneliness. Granted, it would have been more satisfying to see it grow and learn maturity rather than just staying the same, but I don't find it as big a problem as the rampant filler throughout the first and especially second act. Despite such an action-packed intro, the stuff with the ball and especially the stuff with the hot springs should have been severely cut down to make it way for the story. Heck, Lucario doesn't even show up in the present until half an hour into the movie. It's pretty ridiculous. Well, it's not quite as bad as some of the other movies like the Deoxys and Keldeo movies, which just felt like 90 minutes of nothing happening. There's also May, Brock and Max not getting much to do, but they do get some funny lines and moments to show their characters. All the one-off side characters minus Kid and maybe Aaron don't leave much of an impression. I'm just going to take a wild guess that all the aura stuff is bullcrap and the flashback flows feel very contrived. Along with the usual ugly schmaltzy moments of Friendship Lessons My Little Pony were all too obvious that played with the movies. But going by Nej's idea that no Pokemon movie is truly good, which I do slightly agree on, and it's just a case of weighing the good against the bad and plot holes, I'd say this has a lot of really damn good stuff, not just by Pokemon movie standards, but anime movies in general. Let's start off with the biggest pro, and who I've been gushing over about this entire review, Lucario. He's freaking awesome. While he's not too complex, this is a Pokemon movie after all, he's still sympathetic, a good fighter, noble despite his stubbornness, and just so damn cool. His character arc of finally equaling Sir Aaron despite loathing him throughout most of the movie was involving, and also heartbreaking. And major kudos to Sean Schemmel. Most other voice actors will probably underplay most of Lucario's lines, but Schemmel sounds naturally stoic, knowing when to let the facade down. Even his grunt say a lot about Lucario's mood. While Ash, as usual, is a bit pig-headed, he's worried about Pikachu made his part in the story involving, although it did take a backseat to fill it more than a few times. His and Lucario's gradually having to get over their pride to work together and achieve their goals was quite heartwarming, and the friendship towards the end felt genuine, although I could have used more of it. Veronica Taylor, as ever, is also good in the role, as well as with May and a few bits she gets. Yeah, as surprised as I was that Ash was voiced by a girl when I was a kid, I think my adorable little mind would have blown had I found out she also voiced May. Admittedly, Team Rocket felt even more tacked on than usual, with Meow throwing there to translate and Jesse and James for comedy, but since a lot of the jokes they had were funny, I'm okay with them.
Meowth, never to be seen again?
We're the ones who are supposed to be doing all the Pokemon stealing.
Did you miss the never to be seen again part?
You can also really tell that this was 4Kids' last dubbed movie, as all the VAs give excellent performance in both the comedic and dramatic moments. I don't really have a preference with both casts, as I grew up with both of them, but these guys were certainly nothing to put down, and there was no ridiculous localization I could see in this film, not to the point of...
Nothing beats a jelly-filled donut.
Yeah. Although I know a certain tubby Russian dude who might like that last change.
Sandwich!
Add in some intense large-scale battles, surprisingly good sound design, a fascinating glimpse into the Pokemon world's past, and some pretty dark and mature themes for this franchise, and the aura is certainly with this film.
I wonder if my dog can shoot explosions out of his paws. You know what? I'll go and teach him that. I'm Parix11. Thank you for watching. No, down, boy, down! Don't have anyone shoot for you! It's one of my worst ideas ever.
I'm unbeatable. Walking down this endless highway with nothing but my friends beside me. We'll never give in, we'll never rest. Advanced battle is the ultimate